I'm Nolan Beilstein, and welcome to another episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing, a podcast where I talk with young workers about their jobs in the manufacturing industry and what they look for from an employer. For this episode, I welcome Max Fisher, a 25-year-old product manager at Infor, a company that provides business cloud software products specialized by industry. Fisher began working for Infor in 2021 after graduating from Furman and Clemson. While in college, Fisher collected 3 bachelor's degrees, 2 master's degrees, and won an ACC Championship as a member of the Clemson Tigers men's soccer team. Fisher has held 3 roles at Infor and currently manages Infor's newly launched Enterprise Automation Solution and Innovation Showcase program. In this role, Fisher combines his technical, organizational, communication, and business skills to bring a product to market and grow the Infor OS business. Before we hear from Fisher, please make sure to like and share this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, please contact me, Nolan Beilstein, at nolan@ien.com. Okay, so I was looking at, a little bit of your background information. You got degrees in physics, applied mathematics, information technology, mechanical engineering, computer science. So pretty well-rounded. What were the keys to transitioning from college to your current job at Infor?
So transitioning to a current job here at Infor, been through a couple roles as well. Been with Infor for about 2 years. Came in as a product operations analyst, moved into a project management role, and now a product manager, but still doing a little bit of that project management. How that's helped me is like you listed, a couple undergraduate degrees, a couple master's degrees, a lot of technical background. But I think that only gets you so far. There's a lot of people skills as well. Being at Infor, an IT software development business that works a lot with manufacturing industries and helping businesses grow and streamline all their processes in terms of ERP and whatever have you. You also need that business and kind of teamwork aspect of it. And so taking all that technical background, knowing the technical stuff is great, but needing to have a relationship with customers and being able to understand their issues, you need a little bit of personality and a bit of teamwork there, which I think, as well as my college background, playing a bit of soccer, I was able to kind of combine those things together.
Describe what drew you to Infor.
So what drew me to Infor, really out of college, actually kind of still in college, doing a lot of, technology focused things. Had a buddy I played soccer with go to Infor, kind of brought me to their page. And then I looked a little bit about them. They're owned by Cook Industries. I knew that's a good, good brand. And with that, looking more about what Infor does, well, they work in all these different industries for software. So it's not just, a specific sort of manufacturing. They also are in process and distribution, healthcare, all these different, aspects of business. And so that really drew me, so that someone, like you said, has 5 different degrees, doesn't really know exactly what they want to do. They just kind of know technology. Help me decide, hey, let's go with Infor because I have a breadth of knowledge and a breadth of places I can work in.
How have your duties changed from, you said you started as product operation analyst and then project manager, and now you're a product manager. How have those duties changed across all those positions?
So I'll start with, the one commonality it's helping customers. That's like the biggest thing is for me is to help customers. Every day we're in customer calls, but how that role has changed has kind of been that backseat of analyzing how customer projects are going and what we can do better, to actually then running the customer projects, being in day to day, day in, day out, making sure things happen and projects get done. And now as a product manager, creating a product, going to market to help customers understand it, also build a roadmap for what the next steps are for the future. And then enable everyone to get actual business value out of it.
And you've been at Infor for about a little over 2 years now?
A little over 2 years, yep.
So that's 3 roles in about 2 years. Did it ever feel overwhelming or too much for someone in their younger 20s doing all of this and having all these responsibilities?
Oh, 100%. Getting out of college and just getting a job in general, having a little money in your pocket, the last thing you want to do is sometimes sit down, maybe on a Friday afternoon, whenever it hits about 5 o'clock, and finish whatever you're working on. You want to go do something else with your friends. But again, a lot of discipline, and doing what's required and getting these things done help a lot in the future. I think keeping a strict during the week, waking up early, getting your job done really helps. Weekends and maybe some afternoons where you can go and enjoy yourself. So
I mean, you talked a little bit about how your position contributes to the manufacturing industry, but could you expand a little more on what exactly that you do helps profit the manufacturing industry?
Yeah, 100%. So, Infor as a business, historically has been around ERP. And so that's how a manufacturing, customer would manage all their supplies. And that's getting all of their resources in. That could be on the HR side. It could be on actual, physical inventory, how to manage that inventory, and how to send it out, process it, and send it out to whoever's going to distribute for them. And so all that requires systems, right? And how are those systems going to talk to each other? And so where I fit in is in the Infor OS layer, which is how all those systems integrate all together. And then what can you do with all the data? And so say you've got, as a business, 3 or 4 different systems. You got a CRM for your customers. You've got your main ERP, tracking all your vendors, all your supplies. And maybe you have some third-party data, maybe an IoT sensor in your in one of your warehouses, right, or one of your shop floors. And so all that data needs to talk to each other. And so going into helping customers connect with that data, and so it's all in one place instead of having to go to 6 different screens with 6 different logins. And then that's kind of the basics. And then it goes to what can we do further? How can we forecast better? How can we, score these different vendors and find the next best vendor that we can work with to get our supplies, maybe better quality, maybe better on time, maybe for a cheaper cost. And so I really work into, once that's all data's together, how can we take it to the next level and help maybe automate some processes or predict some things? It's very high level, but that's sort of the general buckets we put them in.
And at your current role, I know you told me that you manage the Innovation Showcase program, and you do that alongside other college graduates, recent college graduates. How often are you conversing with other Gen Z aged workers compared to working with some of your older coworkers?
So as part of the Infor OS team, I help manage our interns program. We do it every single year, and we look to bring in 6 to 8. And so I'm usually one of their points of contact. It's good to have it's good to have people younger than me as well, working in manufacturing. But then my direct team, we've got 3 recent college graduates that I talk with every single day. They are project managers for a lot of these Innovation Showcase projects. If you want to know more on that, it's out on YouTube. But that's usually kind of how it goes. It's more my team of the younger folk, and we try to blend in as best we can.
Do you find it easier to work with people your own age?
It's a give and a take. Yes, in terms of communication styles, we like to communicate the same, use the same slang, all are on the same, social medias, and so it's all pretty easy to communicate with. But the other aspect, it's not as easy, is that some experience is needed and some knowledge in the field, and so having some of those older colleagues able to mentor us and kind of guide us to what is being done. Now we'll challenge those things, but having that guidance and having some people that are older and more experienced, I should say, not just older, really help us, me and my team, progress in our careers.
You mentioned that sometimes lingos can get mixed up and different ways of communicating. So for the older and younger workers that are having a hard time communicating with each other, what kind of advice would you give to them to bridge that generational gap?
The biggest thing that's helped me out, and my boss, Satish Bhatt, does a great job of it. He gets on the phone and takes the time to explain things to me in the way I'll like to hear it. Because a lot of times we'll go back and forth and we'll argue, but it's that face-to-face that you might not get through an email, you might not get through a text. Thank the Lord we've got Zoom and Teams and these applications that we can actually talk to each other and get as face-to-face as we can right now in a more digital era. But taking that time and showing you care and getting that communication real time is really, really important.
And what do you see for yourself at Infor in the coming years?
The cliche would be just up and up, just titles, titles, titles. But really, for me, it's more about helping more customers, being able to spread out what my team does as part of Innovation Showcases out to a much wider audience at Infor.
And you may not have been exposed to this at your current workplace, or maybe you have, and maybe hear stories about some of your friends who've gone into similar careers. But have you ever seen any tension or heard of any tension between older generations in the workplace and younger generations regarding work ethic or how to carry out a task?
I would say yes, in some aspects, no in some aspects. Again, there's the whole, we're very digital driven now, so you can't physically see somebody working and you can't physically see the effort they're putting in, as well as you can't physically be in the room or have someone looking over your shoulder to say, oh, hey, might not want to do that, might want to try it this way. So I don't think there's much difference in that work ethic, but I think our perception of it has changed a little bit. For example, maybe you see somebody that's away on their computer. That does not mean that they're not working. I do a lot of things now as a Gen Z, and I've got it here right at my desk with my iPad. And so I might be away from my computer. And so instead of someone seeing me at my desk or seeing me online as part of like a Teams or or Slack, I might be out in my living room doing research on my own iPad. So it's more about that perception of if you're working hard or not. I think everyone else is working their butts off.
And do you work remotely?
I do work remotely, and I travel. I'm based in Nashville, Tennessee, and I travel into our office in Alpharetta, Georgia, roughly once or twice a month.
Do you prefer the remote work option, and do you get the sense that other Gen Z aged people also think that way?
So I can see where working remote is ideal because you can travel wherever you want, work wherever you want. But I do get sometimes that competitive itch. That's why I try to get in office as much as I can, try to get to a customer side as much as I can. Because if I see someone else working hard, that's going to push myself to work even harder. Do I enjoy it? It's got its perks, but also I do like that camaraderie you get in an office. So I think maybe a blend would be the best for me. But for right now, I do enjoy what I'm doing at the moment.
What advice do you have for employers in the software development or manufacturing industry that would help them attract and keep Gen Z workers?
Well, the number one, I mean, money is the big driver there. But in terms of, just being a good employer would be showing passion, showing care. A big thing I try to live by is show up. And so if you've got someone showing up for you and, taking the time out of their day to talk to somebody and not just shoot an email or shoot a text, I think that's a big step forward.
And finally, how can Gen Z contribute, in your opinion, to innovation in software development that potentially older generations hadn't considered?
The big one is ask questions. Having a generation, kind of the first generation really, to grow up with a cell phone in their hand and being, exposed to a technology all their lives, looking at maybe a business process that's been around for 25, 30 years, ask that question. Wait, why do we do this? Why don't we do this? Why are we doing this in this fashion? Or why aren't we skipping this step to do this? This could be so much more efficient. I think asking questions is the biggest thing that could help someone in Gen Z, help streamline and help put innovation in their workplace.
Thanks for joining this episode of Gen Z in Manufacturing. To see previous episodes, you can visit manufacturing.net, IEN.com, infomag.com, designdevelopmenttoday.com, or mbtmag.com. If you are a member of Gen Z and would like to discuss your experience in the manufacturing industry, you can reach me at nolan@ien.com. For Max Fisher, I'm Nolan Beilstein, and this is Gen Z in Manufacturing.